Hello students, in this video we are going to solve the exercise of lesson number 1, that is Earth movement for 11th standard. So let us start with the first question, that is complete the following chain. So there are 3 columns given to you, that is column A, column B and column C. You have to see what is going to match in each and every column, and according to that we will match the pairs. The first is widespread volcanic eruption. Okay, so just see in column B what is going to match it. So widespread volcanic eruption, the answer for it is fissure type volcano. We all know that fissure is a volcano which is very much spreading very fastly and it covers a large distance, and Deccan Trap is an example of fissure type volcanic eruption. Next is Andaman and Nicobar. Now Andaman and Nicobar are the islands which you can see in zone 5. Okay, so Andaman and Nicobar is an island which we see in zone 5, and it is very much active in the case of earthquake, hence very high seismic vulnerability is seen over there. Next is Mercalli scale. We all know Mercalli scale, Richter scales, they are the tools which are used to calculate the intensity and energy. So Mercalli scale is used to calculate the intensity, and the range of intensity is between 1 and 12. After that we have next slow movements. Okay, so slow movements are the movements which occurs very slowly and they create a faulting. Okay, and Block Mountain is an example of it. Next is Philippines. Now in the case of Philippines, the answer is it lies in Circum-Pacific belt. Okay, and the most active place in Philippines in the case of earthquake and volcanic eruption is Mayon. And last is volcanic material. So volcanic material consists of volcanic bombs which are in solid state. So this is all about the first exercise. Let us move to the second one. Identify the correct correlation. The first is assertion and reasoning. So in this question you have to solve the 2 statements. First you have to check whether they are true or false, and then is R giving a correct explanation of A. So these are the things which you have to see in this particular question. So the first question is assertion: faulting leads to the development of fold mountains. So does it leads to the development of fold mountain? That you have to specify whether it is true or false. And faulting occurs when tensional forces moves away from each other. Okay, so here only R is the correct answer. Whenever the force is away from each other, then and then only a stress is created in middle, and because of that a fault is created. So only R is correct answer. Faulting never causes a fold. Okay, it always causes a crack. Next, assertion: intensity of an earthquake is a measurement of energy released during an earthquake. Next, Mercalli scale is used to measure the intensity of the earthquake. Both the statements are true. Whatever energy is released during the earthquake is measured in the form of intensity, and it is basically measured by the Mercalli scale. So here the right answer will be both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. So this is the right option. Next question is Southeast Asia, Japan and islands in the Pacific Ocean are most vulnerable to the earthquake and volcanic eruption. And the next statement is they are located in ring fire. So both the statements are totally correct, hence both A and R are correct, and as it really comes in the ring of fire, hence R is the correct explanation of A. It is exactly correct. Next we have identify the correct group. So there are 4 groups given to you. You have to identify the correct groups. Okay, so out of this the correct group is C. Okay, all the values are present over here. So C is the correct group. Okay, so answer is C. Let us move to the next part, that is section 4. Give geographical reasons. So the first geographical reason is extinct conical volcanoes often form the crater lakes. So we all know that which are the crater lakes. Basically the crater lakes are the lakes where the volcano is already created, a deep depression is created, and later on when the rainfall occurs, so all the water gets accommodated in that particular place, and because of that a lake is created of fresh water. So it is called as crater lake. Next, people living in Himalayas are more vulnerable to the earthquake. So we all know that Himalayas, the mountain ranges, they are formed because of Indo-Australian plate. Okay. And according to this, a tectonic theory which is moving towards the north. So because of that, there is a friction between the two plates, and hence it is more prone to the earthquake. As we all know, wherever there are the junction, the points where the tectonic plates meet each other. So at such places only the vulnerability of earthquake is very much high. Next is L waves do not have shadow zone. So we all know that L waves are nothing but the longitudinal waves which move only on the surface of the earth. Okay, surface पे ही वो workout करता है, it does not enter inside the earth crust. So basically the shadow zones range is what, from 105 to 140, we all know. Okay, so that particular range is a place where you cannot see any type of seismic waves. So the seismographs located at any distance within 105 from the epicenter records the arrival of S waves. So because of that, L waves are generated only when the source of earthquake is closer to the earth's surface. Hence it is not having any type of shadow zone. Next, soft rocks are formed folds while hard rocks form faults. अभी rocks में भी ductility की quality होती है. Whenever there is a ductility quality, the rock starts molding. You can take an example of gold. Gold को हम किसी भी small design में mold कर सकते हैं. In the same way, if you exert a lot of pressure to some of the rocks, they have the quality of elasticity, they have the quality of ductility which makes them to fold. So such rocks are soft rocks. But कुछ rocks ऐसे भी होते हैं जो which are very much hard. Okay, instead of folding, they break down, but they are very rigid. So because of that, the hard rocks never forms a fault. It always breaks down and it creates a fault. Next, fault depends on the strength of rocks and intensity of the forces. Abhi, you should know what is the strength of the rock. The rock should be soft. Whenever you want to create a fold, first of all, वो rock soft होना चाहिए, elasticity quality होनी चाहिए, ductility होनी चाहिए, flexibility होनी चाहिए. If all these qualities are present in the rock, then and then only the fold is possible. If the rock is rigid, if it is very hard, then definitely it is not going to lead to a fold. Next is answer in detail. Now explain the different types of faults. We all know that there are total 4 types of faults. Okay, so all those 4 types of faults are already given in the book. You just have to explain them according to the description, and also you can draw the diagram based on it. Okay. So here these are the 4 types of fault, that is normal fault, reverse fault, tear fault and thrust fault. Okay, so this is about the fault part. Next question is about explain with example different types of landforms produced in the volcanic eruption. Landforms के बारे में एक topic है. You have so many landforms. Any 4 you can explain, like crater, caldera, cinder cone, volcanic plug, lava plateaus, crater lake, lava domes. Okay, so these are the volcanic landforms which you can write the answers from the textbook itself. Next you have explained the concept of shadow zone and write a note on volcanic material. So shadow zone के बारे में एक पूरा topic है. You just have to write it point wise. Okay, what are the important points, and you can draw the diagram for it. This is the diagram for it. Okay, so this is all about the answer in brief section. Now we'll come across the next exercise, which is about differentiate between. Now folding and faulting. Now first of all, folding means what? Folding means bending of rock. Okay, whenever the rock bends, then it is called as folding. And faulting matlab kya? Breakdown of rock. The rock gets broken down. Okay, there is a displacement in the rock. Folding occurs when we exert दी कंप्रेशनल फोर्सेस, मतलब फोर्स जब एक दूसरे के पास आते हैं. एंड faulting means what? When the forces are moving away from each other, that are the tensional forces leads to faulting. Okay, so which are the examples of folding? The examples of folding are the mountains like Himalaya mountain, Alps mountain. And what is the example of faulting? The example of faulting is nothing but the Block mountain, Narmada valley, Tapi valley. So these are the examples of faulting. Now let us move to the next question regarding reverse and normal fault. Okay, so normal fault basically are the faults when the proportion of landslides are down along the fault plane. And reverse fault, these are the faults when the proportion of land is thrown upwards relative to the other side of the land. Okay, so in dono mein there is a difference. Basically, in the case of normal fault, the exposed portion of the plane faces the sky, and in the case of reverse fault, the faulted portion faces the ground. Now we have the next part, that is synline and antiline. There is a diagram given in your textbook which is based on it. You can draw a diagram and you can explain this concept very nicely with the help of the diagram. Okay. So what are the antilines and what are the synlines? Basically जो synlines होते हैं ना, they form the valley. Okay. And the anticline are the part which are above. तो यहाँ पे देखो सिनलाइन के वो ऐसे डिप्रेशन क्रिएट करते, तो इससे वैली बन जाती है. एंड एंटीक्लीन के वजह से क्या होता है, माउंटेन्स या फिर पीक बन जाते हैं. ओके, सो एंटीक्लाइन हैज अ गुड हाइट whereas सिनलाइन हैज अ गुड डेप्थ. ओके, सो दिस इज अबाउट एंटी लाइन एंड सिन लाइन. यहाँ पे जो बीच का पोर्शन होता है एंटी लाइन में, वो बीच का पोर्शन इट गेट्स रेज्ड अप. ओके, एंड इन द केस ऑफ सिन लाइन द मिडल पोर्शन गेट्स more deeper and lower. So this is the difference between it. Next difference is between symmetric and asymmetric fold. Now again fold के बारे में तो हमें पता है, there are so many types of folds again. So there is asymmetric and asymmetric. अभी symmetric folds कैसे होते हैं? The axial planes are totally inclined. Okay, and in the case of asymmetric the axial plane is totally in the case of asymmetric it is inclined, and in the case of symmetric it is vertical. Okay, so asymmetric fold the limbs are of different angles. In symmetric आप देख सकते हो कि सब में एक ही तरीके का you can see a pattern. The distance between all of them is similar, but in the case of asymmetric you can see that यहाँ पे कुछ कम डिस्टेंस है, यहाँ पे कुछ ज़्यादा है, यहाँ पे सेम है, कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं होती है in the case of asymmetric. The height and the shape of the limbs in the case of asymmetric is totally different. You can see this limb is different, this limb is different, and these limbs are totally different. लेकिन symmetric में आपको सभी limbs के सेम ही तरीके के पैटर्न्स नज़र आएंगे. नेक्स्ट इज मर्कली स्केल एंड रिचर स्केल. मर्कली स्केल और रिचर स्केल का जो भी डिफरेंस है आप टेक्स्ट बुक में से एज इट इज डायरेक्टली लिख सकते हो. ओके, सो मर्कली स्केल इज यूज्ड फॉर इंटेंसिटी एंड द रिचर स्केल इज यूज्ड फॉर एनर्जी. वी ऑल नो दैट इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन ऑब्जर्वेशन. यहाँ पे हम सेस्मोग्राफ से मेजर कर सकते हैं एनर्जी. ठीक है, तो ये ऑब्जर्वेशन कौन करता है? मैन मेड ऑब्जर्वेशंस होते हैं, और यहाँ पे कैलकुलेशंस होते हैं, एल्गोरिदम्स होते हैं. ठीक है, मर्कली स्केल का मेजरमेंट यूनिट क्या है? 1 to 12. 1 मतलब इट इज़ वेरी वेरी माइल्ड एंड 12 मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ है. एंड इन द केस ऑफ रिचर स्केल इट इज़ फ्रॉम लेस देन 2.0 to 10.0 प्लस. ओके, दिस इज अबाउट द रिचर स्केल. नाउ द नेक्स्ट डिफरेंस वी हैव स्लो मूवमेंट एंड सडन मूवमेंट. अभी बेसिकली स्लो मूवमेंट आर द मूवमेंट विच इज़ वर्टिकल एज वेल एज हॉरिजॉन्टल, और सडन जो होते हैं वो डेप्थ के बिकॉज ऑफ इट ऑकर्स वेरी सडनली. नाउ इन द केस ऑफ स्लो मूवमेंट्स आर ऑलवेज कंटिन्यूस, वो चलते ही रहते हैं, हमें पता नहीं चलता बस, बट इट गोज ऑन हैपनिंग. एंड इन द केस ऑफ सडन मूवमेंट इट ऑकर्स इन अ फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकेंड. ओके, स्लो मूवमेंट फॉर्म्स माउंटेन कॉन्टिनेंट्स एंड सडन फॉर्म्स अर्थक्वेक वॉल्केनो. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट इट. डायग्राम्स आप ड्रॉ कर सकते हो बुक में से. All the diagrams are available. You can draw from the textbook. This is all about the exercise. Thank you for watching.